בוקר טוב מבורך everyone, בוקר טוב. בעזרת השם, בזכות הצדיק רבי חיים פיטו ובזכות כל הצדיקים, הקדוש ברוך הוא bless everyone וברכה והצלחה. שמיים גדולה. May today be a day full of yeshuot and full of brachot. Amen. Now, but in this week's parasha, we see something very interesting that I think it's worthy of looking into in order to maybe uncover a beautiful little secret, a beautiful little tool for all of us, Bezrat Hashem, to advance ourselves in our lives and to understand our value, not only of who we are, but of every single action, every single deed that we do. Most of this week's parasha contains two things. Number one, it discusses the burial of Sarah and all its detail, which we're going to get into a moment. And number two, it talks about these little conversations between Avraham and Ephod, Avraham and Eliezer, Eliezer and the father of Rivka, Eliezer and Rivka, all this like what we call in English small talk. So the question that we had is, first of all, in previous forefathers and in forefathers we see throughout the Torah, when their passing occurred, it was a very quick explanation of the Torah. The Torah would say, Vayamut Avraham, Vayamut Yitzchak, Vayamut one of the forefathers, and that's it. Maybe it's going to go as far as mentioning where they were buried, but zero. So the question that we had is, why does the Torah put so much emphasis on the ptira of Sarah? Now, more importantly, we see that the language of how the Torah describes Sarah's life is very unique, very strange. First of all, the Torah says, how old was she when she passed away? She was 120 and 7, instead of just saying 127. And then it continued on to say that Kulan Shavin LeTorah. She had full years and were all equal. So the question that we had is, what is the Torah trying to teach us? What's the point of all these cushion psukim? What's the point of all these filler psukim that don't seem to have much value as the great grandchildren, Am Yisrael? So in our time, we were looking into the Zohar HaKadosh about this concept, and we found a concept that's similar to it, that maybe could support an idea and give us a little bit of an understanding of what's occurring here. The Zohar HaKadosh says that the gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Bnei Israel is the concept of lack of psolet within their world. Which means what? It means it's the gift of having no waste within our lives. In Abatai today, the entire world, their biggest industry of selling is selling distractions. It's selling emptiness. It's selling something that will keep you busy, doing nothing, and that busyness that allows you to just be stuck in some sort of bubble is what is the norm of the world. Zohar HaKadosh says, Bnei Israel as a gift live lives where nothing is for nothing. There's not an action that occurs for no reason. There's not an occurrence that should be in a Jew's life that has no purpose. And so too, there shouldn't be an action or a deed that we bring forward that doesn't serve a bigger purpose within the world. Zohar HaKadosh brings an analogy to what point this is important, that every single Jew understands that he's not allowed to have anything in his life that is useless. It's like when a child is born. The first thing that us Jewish people we do, we take the child and we start to cut off pieces. We do Brit Milah. Why? The poor child was just born and you're already starting to remove organs. Chaman al-Itzlan. The Zohar says, no. The Jew has everything with a reason, with a purpose. Anything that doesn't have a purpose only creates damage within the life of a Ben Israel, of a Jew. The Olam, that extra piece of skin, it doesn't serve purpose. And if it doesn't serve purpose, it will only be a bad influence on the Jew. So we must remove it immediately. Zohar HaKadosh says this is just to give us an understanding that every action that a person does needs to have purpose. Psolet could not exist. And this Abotai not only starts in every one of us when we started our life as a child, but so too started as who we were as a nation. We know that when the Zohar HaKadosh said that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Bnei Israel out of Egypt, the first thing that he did, he put them in the midbar and he gave them a very unique food. What was this food? The man. We always asked ourselves, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was intending to do a miracle. You couldn't make bread grow from the ground like normal things or fruit. You have to make bread fall from the sky. If there's like a line of of what's more easy and what makes more sense. It's most of our food comes from the ground. Why drop it from the sky? So Zohar HaKadosh is something incredible. It says the man, first of all, as we know, it was something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the perfect quantity for every individual. Or in other words, there was no waste. There was no extra. There was no useless. Man was not like a fruit that you have to take off the peel. A person would eat it in its entirety. And even the Zohar HaKadosh goes even further. It says that the man, a person himself, didn't have waste. Because the man would get absorbed by the body, and zero. Zohar HaKadosh says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu only gave the Torah to Dor HaMidbar, to the generation of the desert, because they were ochle man. Because they were consumers of man. Why was that something so big? Because only at that point, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can get Bnei Israel used to this concept of having no waste. Because in a Jew's life, nothing should be wasteful. Nothing should be extra. Nothing should be without purpose. And that is a line that we see throughout the entire Midbar. It says that they didn't need to wash their clothing. The clouds would come and clean them. It said their clothing lasted. It was preserved. Everything was perfect. Everything was kept clean. Everything was kept wholesome. Nothing was for no purpose. And this Abatai can bring us back to this week's parasha. Sarah Imenu Alah Shalom, like we mentioned, Vaitmalu Yemei Sarah. Her days were full. He said, maybe we can say that the Torah was talking about what? Torah was talking about the concept that Sarah lived her entire life, what? Without wasting a moment. That every moment had purpose, had a job, had a tafkid. It was used to its maximum potential. And now we can understand why it says the language of 127. Why? We know that in a person's life, there are years of more use of the time and less use of the time. When you're a child, most of the time is wasted. When you're 20, you're most productive. When you're 100, you go back to child. Most of the time is wasted. Sarah, no. When she was 7, she acted like when she was 20. When she was 100, she acted like when she was 20. Her years were full. Maybe we can say that's why the Torah put so much emphasis in her burial, put so much emphasis of where her body will go to rest. Because even when a person passes away, if that person used his time and used his life with purpose and with reason, his body does not go to waste. His body gets preserved and his life continues on for eternity. So when a person uses what was given to him without waste, he so too continues without waste. And that Abatai brings us to a beautiful Gemara, where it says what? Sichatan shel avotenu kelimut Torah shel banea. What does that mean? Chazal say, the sicha, the conversations that our forefathers had, they are as significant as the highest form of Torah that the grandchildren study. Oh, we said why? So maybe it's to say, even in the parasha we see all these small talks between our Abraham, Ephod, Eliezer, Rivka, all this small talk. It's not words without reason, it's not words to waste. It is even higher than the most powerful Torah that us grandchildren could obtain. So there's one lesson about that we need to learn from this week's parasha, is that every action that we do needs to be calculated and needs to hold a place within pushing us forward. When we sleep, we're not sleeping just to sleep. We're sleeping to wake up, to come to Shacharit. When we eat, we're not eating just to eat. We're eating in order to move forward, in order to have life, in order to have energy, to do good, to advance the world. Every action of a Jew needs to have purpose. If it doesn't have purpose, it doesn't have reason, it's not pushing you forward in a positive direction, it shouldn't be in our life. And that is how, Abatai, maybe we can say we all reach to a maximizing of our potential and bringing ourselves to a place of truly achieving bracha and Yeshua in all aspects of our life. Amen. Yom tov,